So when it comes to launching your very first product, I know personally that shipping is by far one of the most daunting and scariest parts, as there's so many different parts to learn and all these things that are out of your control. And I know we can start by maybe gambling on the supplier and hope that they're gonna give it to someone who can get our hard-earned stock down to the dock and not just the local bike boy who's gonna chuck it on and it falls off as he goes down there. Or maybe we can go with a 3PL who's gonna make sure it gets there safely, but it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg to get it there, and there's all these additional costs if anything does go wrong. So surely there's gotta be another option that's better suited to us e-commerce sellers that gives us the best of both worlds. So today we've been extremely lucky to be able to organize the CEO of one of Australia's most innovative and fastest growing shipping companies that is designed for e-commerce sellers to come here into a video and give you guys a masterclass on shipping and go through some of the things that he sees that people regularly do wrong and give you some pointers on what you can do to improve your shipping game and make sure that your hard-earned stock arrives safely in Amazon moving forward. And as I always say in my videos, you should always aim to work with experts and learn from the best, because they're only going to save you money down the track. So today you get the opportunity to learn from one of the best for free. So make sure you take full advantage of it. So without any further ado, let me introduce to you the CEO of SKUDrop, Mr. Jamie Paros. Jamie, how are you today, mate?
Lockie, how are you, mate? Thanks for that intro. It was very kind of you, mate.
No, of course. Thanks so much for taking the time to jump in here with us. You know, we're talking about shipping today, which, you know, I get so many questions about. So this is kind of like the perfect interview for me to jump in and get some extra value points for everyone watching. So I appreciate you coming in.
Nah, thanks, mate. When I reached out and saw that you're doing what you're doing in your channel, it's always good to see people serving the community and stuff like that. So I take my hat off to you as well, buddy. It's always a good thing when someone can give someone else some knowledge that that can help them in their business. So all these YouTubers that spend all this time and effort to try and better everyone else's businesses, I always applaud them. So yeah, well done, mate, because I know what it takes to spend a bit of time to do this stuff.
Yeah, goodness, you're gonna make me blush with those compliments. That's very, very kind of you. And I must say,
it's awesome, mate. It is.
Yeah, and I must say it's different, but it's nice because, you know, I speak to a lot of people in the space and I do a couple interviews on the channel, but I've never got to do one with another Aussie before. So, you know, it's kind of nice to do one with another Aussie who knows the homeland and knows the weird things that I'm saying, because sometimes people get confused.
Awesome.
So I'm very keen for that. And look, just as a little bit of context for people that are watching, obviously I know a bit more about you because recently, if anyone follows my Instagram, they would have seen I went down to Sydney and I went to the big e-commerce event. I always say it wrong.
Another Sellerfest.
Yes, I always get it mixed up with all the S's. But I went down, I got to see you speak there, and many other people speak, and I'm pretty sure it's one of, or if not the biggest, Amazon seller event in Australia that you run there. But for the people that maybe haven't heard of you before, haven't met you before, could you give us just like a super quick intro on yourself, maybe your journey, what you're doing now? That would be fantastic.
No worries, mate. And thanks for coming down to Sydney. It was a pretty cool event, actually.
It was.
Yeah, look, about me, I started selling with my wife in 2017. So coming up, 6-7 years now. Through that experience, done multiple ventures around the Amazon space, always been in logistics. Even prior to Amazon, I've spent the last 20 years with a family logistics company. So that's always been my thing. And I sort of nerd out on shipping and logistics and inventory management, which we'll cover today. But yeah, from that, started selling. Obviously, we created a little community here, the Endgame Network, which you're familiar with as well. In Australia, pretty much 90% Australians in there, just helping each other. It's just open Facebook group, basically, just for people to have resources and share resources in there. So that's pretty cool. And then from that, we thought, let's get everyone together. There was a lot of thirst for networking and seeing everybody, and there was also the opportunity to bring some of these influencers and speakers that we all know and learn from over the last few years to Australia for the first time. So that was the whole idea around Southern Sellerfest, seeing if we can get the Aussie community together, in a central location, kind of Sydney's middle of East Coast, and
Yeah.
then have all these speakers come out that we've all learned from for the first time and sort of see each other in the flesh. And so we've done that the last 2 years, and it's been amazing success. And then through that, which we'll talk about a little bit later, just through opportunity and discovery in our own Amazon businesses, we've launched our business SKU Drop, which we can talk about, which is taking off at the moment.
It is. It's extremely innovative, and I said that in the little intro that you didn't get to hear, that it's very innovative and fast growing. But yeah, look, the event was so great, and I wanted to throw in there, I said to you the other day the little story, and it's funny you mentioned at the start about the YouTubers trying to give back and help as many people as possible. But for the people who watch a lot of my videos, I always talk about how I got to learn from, I say, stand on the shoulders of giants, right? I got to learn from giants, and that's why I try to give back so much, is because, people helped me. And it was almost 4 years ago, back in 2020, when it was just little 21-year-old Lachlan, and I was doing Amazon then, but was nowhere near where I was now, and I was sort of struggling. And I actually reached out and messaged Jamie on Facebook. And you message people and you're like, oh, they're probably not going to get back to me, but I'll just send a message out there. But I messaged Jamie and he gave me this paragraph back, helping me out. So, even though it was just like a little thing, you got to play that little step in how I got to, sort of become today. So I think it's a very cool story. And Jamie's one of those giants that helped me out. So it's
Awesome.
it's a nice round circle
Awesome.
that it's come to. But getting into some of the meat and potatoes now, some of the cool stuff, the shipping, like I sort of said that when people are launching a product, right, when they're getting started on Amazon, shipping is definitely like one of the biggest, most daunting things. So there's like so many things that can go wrong, all these different options that you can sort of go with. So you being an expert in the space, I'd love to hear from you like some advice on what people can do when they're, sort of sorting out their shipping, and just sort of how that whole frame works as they're getting into it.
Yeah, it's a really good one, and it's interesting, right? I like to break it up like this. If you think about, Amazon sellers, we can call everybody e-com sellers, because there's a lot of people playing in other marketplaces and omni-channel stuff and trying to build their own website. But initially, your channel and a lot of us here are trying to break it on Amazon, right?
Yeah.
If you think about Amazon, who are Amazon sellers? It's people generally that have come from normal 9 to 5s. This is just a bit of a stereotype. But look, it's true. We've all come from somewhere, but it hasn't been our main source of income, or it hasn't been our go-to career, call it.
Yes.
We haven't been supply chain experts. We haven't been inventory management experts. We've been bankers, tellers, workers, electricians, hairdressers, whatever, right?
That's right.
So all of a sudden, this Amazon business model is really attractive, right? Because you can send all this gear into Amazon. They look after all the shipping. They look after all the logistics. They send it out. There's no more, eBay having to go down the post office, put a million labels on products, right?
Yeah.
So that's really attractive. But over the years, the way Amazon has grown, you've had to have a little bit more knowledge than normal about supply chain. Now, this isn't native for all of us. This is like a university or college degree. For the big companies that hire these inventory and supply chain managers, this is someone that they hire that's come out of university to know how to do business management, inventory management, supply chain, logistics, all that stuff. So all of a sudden, we, as the hairdresser and electrician, we're like, shipping?
Yep.
Like, what? Like import and duties and taxes and freight forwarders and all the terms that just get us all scared. It's not sexy, but we know it's important because we're handing out cash, right?
Yes, big cash a lot of the time.
So that's what I wanted to talk about today in my short presentation that I've prepared for everybody. So yeah, I really think it's important now more than ever, the changes, especially in the US and other marketplaces. I know we're talking about Australia today as well, but the same principles will come to Australia. It's okay at the moment if you've got a small Amazon business and you've got stuff in the garage and you've got stuff at home and you're sending it in, but sooner or later you're going to build this business to scale. And when you do, you're going to have to need to know all these things. We've had the luxury. When I started, mate, I could send a 40-foot container to the US into Amazon and just That's it.
Yeah,
Don't have to worry about nothing.
yeah,
They
those
do
were
it
the
all.
days.
Storage fees were like whatever. Whenever I sell it, I sell it.
Yeah.
Now it's changed. Inventory limits, 3PLs, all the weird and wonderful things. But anyway, I cover a lot in the presentation. So yeah, maybe we'll just get into that.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I love those points you touched on, especially with Australia. You know, for a lot of people, it is that easier thing now because Amazon's trying to make it as attractive as possible, you know, for people to come and sell. But you are very right. And I say it to people, you know, like you want to lay your foundation now and get in there and learn because it's easier. But if you have it set up for when it does scale, for when it goes crazy, you're just going to do even better. And like, you know, if you've got your shipment stuff in place, you're just going to continue to dominate.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. All right, let me share screen and we'll get into it.
Beautiful.
The crux and I guess the whole body of this presentation is going to be around supply chain, inventory management tactics and strategies. This is really going to give you some really good foundations on how to manage your Amazon business, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or you're at sort of enterprise level. You'll get something from this presentation. I know that for sure because believe me, Lockie, through SKUDrop, I've talked to people doing hundreds of millions of dollars in Amazon, and we're onboarding them as we speak into SKUDrop, and it's a whole different ball game, supply chain. So we'll get through that.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, this is not taught in any of the courses. Supply chain, you might mention more than others, Lockie, about shipping, right? And give people a heads up. But really, there's nowhere where we can really go to get supply chain or inventory management information dedicated for Amazon.
Yes.
And I said, this is a college degree job. If you're looking at working for Toyota or you're looking at working for a multinational or international company, you've got to have some decent qualifications and study this stuff. And the limited info is relevant to Amazon sellers. So when you do look up supply chain strategies, it's all mumbo jumbo and it's relative to like big businesses, which just doesn't help us, right? So how do we start and how do we improve? So one of the things that a lot of people don't know about, but it's probably one of the fundamentals of supply chain and inventory management is ABC inventory management system. And what does this look like? It's a classification system where if you think about Lockie Kmart, right? And it's great that you're talking to an Aussie because, Americans are going to know Kmart too, but let's just think of Kmart, right?
Yeah.
How many SKUs are in Kmart? Thousands of SKUs, right? There's going to be high volume items which move out the door every day. There's going to be some stuff that, the salad bowl down in aisle 5 that maybe moves one a month, right? And there's going to be, really, really high volume, medium volume, low volume. Now, in the back end for Kmart, they've got supply chain management and inventory specialists looking at all this. Then procurement, I always struggle with that.
You're good.
Procurement management as well, also looking at how they're going to order for these different sort of classifications. So all these big companies, and we should do this too, we should classify our products into categories. So A, being high volume items, B, being moderate volume items, and C, being slob stock. We call it slow and obsolete stock. So even if you've got 10 SKUs in an Amazon business, not 8,000 or 20,000 like Kmart, you should still classify and categorize all your products. This will then allow you to have a bit more visualization at a higher level of what your POs need to look like, what your shipping needs to look like, and what you can and can't, where you should deploy your capital. Because if you think about it, if you're deploying capital in C, low moving stock, that capital is now tied up in a warehouse or your garage sitting somewhere where it could be doing something else.
Yes.
You could be scaling more products, you could be doing other things with it. But if you don't know what all this looks like, then you're just going to throw money out the door. Now, if you're a supply chain manager for Kmart and you are deploying too much capital, but product C, I'm sure you wouldn't have a job after 6 months, right? So this is really important. Now, this is what we've been doing all these years as Amazon sellers. We have our product ready, then we spend a lot of time and effort getting emails, freight forwarding, and I'm talking about shipping here. So we put our purchase order in, we wait the 30 to 50 days for the manufacturing process. We do all this emailing with freight forwarders, comparing prices and who's going to do what? Are you going to do this? Do I need to give you my HS codes? What about my labels? Are you sending them to my house? What do you like? We've all been there, right? Then you have to pay for the freight up front. And then you also, if you're sending 4 or 3 months worth of stock on the water at once, you're also risking that order and business continuity, depending on the size of the business, at all your eggs in one basket, I like to call it. Then there's tariff management and paying for that up front, duties, whether it's GST in Australia, all those lovely, beautiful things.
Yes.
Whether the value is enough to cover to warrant GST, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to look at, okay, I've got to move my car out and waste the whole garage space. I'm going to use a 3PL, right? We've all been there. Where's this thing going? How am I getting the truck up my driveway to unload this stuff? Do I need to get, Sammy to come around and help me unload this truck because I've got 300 cartons and I'm blocking the road?
Yep.
I have seen and done all of this stuff, right? And you get to a point, if you're serious about your Amazon business, where you go to the next level and you get past all this, then you're paying 3PL fees, whether they're here in Australia or in the US, or even paying for Amazon storage fees, which are even dearer than 3PL. And then potentially you're paying SPD and LTL from your house or your 3PL into Amazon, and there's more costs going out the door, right? That's how we've traditionally done things.
We'll get back to talking to Jamie in just one second, but for those of you who want to check out SKU and get to see how you can use it within your Amazon business, and you're going to learn a bit more about it in just a sec, but they've made an amazing offer for our Australian audience here today, because a lot of the guys running this company are Australians as well. Okay, so they've actually given you guys a full 12-month subscription for free to their software. Okay, so for a whole year, you can go in, check it out, see how it's going to best work for your product, for your supplier location, and where you need to send your stock, either here to Australia, or if you want to test out America. They're going to let you use the software for free for an entire year. And then on top of that, they're going to give you, for 6 months, 20% off all of your carton preparation fees. So when they're handling your stock, packing it up, whatever it is you needed, they're going to give you 20% off any of those normal fees that they charge the rest of their customers. And then if that wasn't already enough, they're going to give you $100 shipping credit. Okay, that's right, $100 that you can use towards any of your shipments that you put through SKU. Okay, so a full year subscription for free. You get 20% off all of your handling fees for 6 months. And it's like a gift card, $100 USD gift card to use towards any of your shipments. So if you guys want to go and give it a trial, check out the software. I've got the link down below that you can click, go through and get the reward for being part of this amazing Australian audience. But thank you guys so much, and we'll see you again soon. Peace.